Shelby Daigle, and I'm with Muslim Link. I'm the editor-in-chief. So Muslim Link is Ottawa's online Muslim communities paper.
Mhm.
And I've been doing that work for about 2.5 years now. And so we're kind of just innovating in terms of trying to use it as a vehicle to sort of connect and network Ottawa's Muslim communities both Ottawa and Gatineau. And also to tell sort of different stories. So oftentimes, as Muslim community finds that they're not really well reflected in the mainstream media, and we're particularly concerned with the effect that has on youth and children. So by just having this other forum, we often really focus on personal stories. We focus on profiles, or we cover events, but it's really just you see the people. Like again, photography is really big for us. It's really important to just look at it and see somebody who either looks like you or somebody you know. But we're also, what's interesting is that we're often followed a lot by mainstream media. So they subscribe to our Snapshot, they follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and sometimes even they take our stories and they use it to make a story in their own. And so I think it's actually been really helpful in providing an alternative view of the community, which is more complex and also, I wouldn't say 100% positive because, again, every community has issues, but definitely more nuanced in terms of what we're up to and our diversity, particularly because we've made a commitment to diversity and inclusion. So we make sure that the paper reflects the ethnocultural diversity of the Muslim community in Ottawa Gatineau, because we've actually researched like the census data, and we have a lot of young people because the median age for Muslims in Ottawa is 29. So you're going to see a lot of younger people's stories still there. And also if you identify as Muslim, we'll tell your story, so we don't differentiate between the different sects of Muslims, because again, there might be theological differences, but in the context of just being a community, we see each other around all the time, so why wouldn't we tell each other stories?
All right, so what brought you to this event?
I was invited by Amar, and I'm not really sure what they thought I could offer. It might be because of my other work, like I do have experience as a youth worker and doing work around, say, gang prevention and public education. So possibly that. I also, again, have a background as doing anti-oppression training, so working with organizations on equity and inclusion and trying to ensure there's more representation of marginalized communities.
Amazing. And have there been some takeaways from the event?
Definitely. I mean, I connected with a lot of people who, I might want to profile on our website, or I think would be interested in that. People whose work I just find interesting sometimes from my other work, like the other jobs I have. I think, again, it's made me feel even more resolved on how important it is that we're networking better within the Muslim community in Ottawa, Gatineau, and also maybe more nationally too, because, again, I feel it's important for resilience. I think when we talk about resiliency, I feel communication is sometimes left out, but I think effective communication in terms of being able to mobilize a community, in terms of being able to inform a community, is huge when it comes to resilience. Mm-hmm. So it's made me more resolved to see what we're doing, which could be simply seen as like a business, is more a social enterprise, because it's very important that a community is well networked, that there is sort of a hub space to be able to find information or share information, because otherwise, how do you rally, how do you mobilize, how do you inform, how do you resist? I mean, there's so many things you can do when you're better networked, but when you're not going to know that maybe there's some great program going on, but you really need it, but you don't even know what's happening.
And I suppose that's a huge purpose for your magazine, to be able to share those stories.
Very much so, because it's not just the stories. It's also we have events listing. We have a directory that can build every day, just to make it easier for people to know. Okay, well, there's a Canadian Muslim Lawyers Association. Well, not everyone in Ottawa would even know that, because you wouldn't. Why would you know it? Because it's mostly based in Toronto, and you'd only know it maybe if you watch mainstream media. So we're trying to make it easier for people to know, like, well, you can contact this group, you can contact this group for this. Because again, that's important, I think, for resilience.
And why do you feel like this event is important now?
I think clearly there's a lot of concerns around violent extremism because of, people we know who've left to join ISIS. But I would again even say, the arrest that happened in Halifax of some young people trying to kill people in a large number. Again, people might debate about what we name things, but, that's really strange. Like, why are young people, being moved by hatred or being inspired by hate movements in our country, and actually planning to do violence, whether it be in Canada or abroad. And we need to work out what to do about that, because again, it's sort of one thing, we're losing young lives, and also it's not the same necessarily as gang prevention, which is, I think, sometimes clearly more of a social issue that there's been a lot more best practices on how to do. We don't have a lot of best practices on how to deal with violent extremism amongst young people from whatever community. I personally want to learn more about, say, what people have done related to white supremacist movements, which have a history in Canada, which I directly experienced when I was a child. With white supremacists trying to recruit in our neighborhood. So I really think those are things we need to learn from, and also learn from different communities who have been dealing with the issue of violent extremism, so that we can share best practices.